Coming soon to theaters. Podcasts, film reviews, and so much more. Available at tristanmiller.substack.com.
And now, our feature presentation.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Focus Testing, a podcast about movies where we make a movie. My name is Tristan Miller, and joining me today is Caitlin Reese. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. It's no longer flooding, which is great.
Yeah. It was hairy last night going out.
Yeah. Bit grim coming back home from work. To start off, I want to say thank you for doing the podcast. And then also, do you remember the first movie you saw in the cinema?
I know that I saw stuff when I was like really little, but the first thing my earliest memories, they're pretty late in life. Like I just remember in high school seeing like awful movies like Mr. Bean.
Like Mr. Bean's Holiday?
Because I feel like we were just so desperate to just like not be home and be out, and like I lived in the suburbs, that like we would see things that I don't think any of my friends and I were liking. We were just like, oh, we're just not home. And then you would do that thing where like you would hop into other theaters afterwards, and then you'd sneak, like we'd buy a ticket to the PG-13 film, but like you sneak into the R. But I remember like that's for some reason the Mr. Bean movie was like the first thing that popped into my head, and that I was like 16 in the movie theater seeing that with friends. But I know my parents took me to stuff when I like at younger ages. I just don't remember any of it.
I mean, that's fair enough. Again, it's like I'm just asking about the first time you remember something, so that's a great answer. I do as well love like the idea. Often movies are described as escapism, but this is like the most literal version of that. Of like, I would like to leave a place and escape to anywhere else.
There was just, typical, like there's just nothing to do. And I was lame and I was straight edge my whole life. So like I didn't drink or do drugs. So I was like, my way of like being bad was just like hanging out in places that weren't home.
You know what? Relatable.
A really low bar.
When you go to the cinema, what's your favorite snack?
Now I've been like yuppified because I live in New York City, and I'll go to like night. If I'm gonna go, I'd like it to be a nice theater, and so it's usually a Nighthawk or the Alamo. And so I like to order like a legit meal. Like they're really not snacks. It's like, I'll have like a quinoa bowl.
Oh my God.
I'm also the kind of person that like I pick things that no one else would be excited about, like a quinoa bowl at a movie theater. Like, but that is my personality. I am the quinoa bowl. So I'll get like a cocktail too, though. Like I always love getting like, and I love when they do like a themed night where it'll be like, we're gonna watch, I don't know, I even know what, like the Barbie movie, and then like everything's pink,
Nice. That's lovely. I always get scared whenever I try to order a meal at a movie theater that I'm gonna like just get it all over me, and like because it's dark and I know I'm clumsy, but good for you for having more confidence than I do vis-a-vis food, I guess.
There's like a whole ass table for you there.
It's true, but I'm just so blind, That's lovely. Are you ready for some film trivia?
You're gonna be really sorely disappointed in me in this. And what's extra sad is my dad owned a video store when I was a child. And this is like, I'm old. I'm not gonna say how old, but I remember working like as like an 8 or 9-year-old in my dad's video store. Like I would dust the VHS tapes, like I would rewind like the videos that people brought back. I loved it when someone was like, my kid's around your age, what would you recommend? But like I weirdly, I like remember visuals of what movies looked like in the store, but I didn't watch, didn't, I didn't watch them. And my only really funny story about this is that I used to always take home the VHS tape Airborne, which is a really bad rom-com with Seth Green. It's a rollerblading rom-com.
Okay.
And I could have been like really like watching this like beautiful array of film, but I just watched this one movie obsessively. And my dad was like, one day someone's gonna come in and want Airborne, and I'm not gonna have it because you always have it at the house. And he's like, and I'm gonna kick your ass. And sure enough, it happened eventually. Someone came in for Airborne and it was not available because I always had it at home.
That's very funny. A film I have never heard of, but now must watch.
It's bad.
Take that, Seth. You hear that? Get out of here. A rollerblading rom-com sounds quite charming, though.
Yeah, I mean, like rollerblading was very cool at the time.
I would say doing a double feature of that and Whip It might be fun.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah. But don't worry, these are quote unquote movie trivia. So they're really just questions to get to know you. So there's no
Okay.
pressure. Yeah. Starting off is what is movie to you? What does movie mean to you?
Um, I feel like I had a broader definition of it, but now that I've lived in New York City, I've met people that are like, I'm a filmmaker, and then I've watched like a 3 minute thing that like I could have made in my driveway when I was a kid. And so I'm like, okay, I guess films are anything that are just like technically on film.
Damn.
It's true. Like people I like there's been people I've met that I love dearly, and I'm just like, you entered a you got you submitted this to a festival? This is just people talking like on your phone. Like what? They'll be like the reviews will be like, this really showed the like how Americans really are in the suburbs. And I'm like, what? Um
It's just
I mean,
footage of people sneaking into Mr. Bean.
yeah, it's just the cell phones weren't even like mobile yet when I was doing
Mm.
that. Um, oh my God, I'm being such a hater right now. Well, I used to think that it was like uh something with like a story that was that was
So
usually like a half hour or plus. I mean, it's not that I disrespect shorts, but I've just seen versions of shorts now where I'm like, man, we're really stretching what is considered film.
sure. That absolutely makes sense. Because at what point is a short just a long TikTok? You know,
Yeah.
they're letting you upload 10 minutes to TikTok now, and is that not a short film?
It's longer than some things I've seen.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Um, I would say besides Airborne, what is a film that you would like people to remember, but they don't? Besides, of course, Airborne.
Oh,
Mm.
man, like a bunch of different things are going through my head, and I'm like, what? Why would I say that? It's my ADD brain is like, oh, just because you thought of it doesn't mean that's the answer, which is like what's happening internally right now. Because first I'm
For
like, Big
sure.
Trouble in Little China, and I'm like, that's probably racist. I don't know. Don't say that.
Oh, it's actually it's aged pretty well, having seen it for the first time in a while. I'm sorry, first time ever, like a year ago. It's actually pretty good, and that's a really fun movie.
Yeah, I remember that was like a family favorite
Hmm.
in our household growing up. It was quoted a lot too.
Hmm.
Um,
It's
but it
I
feels
did.
like I'm like, oh,
Mhm.
something that I'm like going to like, oh, something people should remember that they might not. And then I'm like, okay, like what was like a really meaningful movie to me?
Mhm.
Um,
I would.
yeah, I'm not getting stumped.
It's okay. I would say as well with Big Trouble in Little China, the only element that seems unsavory is like, oh, all Asian people have mystical powers. Like that was like the thing going on in the zeitgeist. Um, but James Hong's there, and Love him. Crushing it as Lopan.
Actually, this is like a more recent film, but
Hmm.
it's probably the thing that really made a huge difference in my life personally, which is
Hmm.
seeing the movie Promising Young Woman.
Oh, sure.
Um, yeah,
I would love to hear as to why your experience with that, because that's a pretty controversial film to have a positive
I
feeling
know.
about.
I'm like, is this something I want to share on the podcast? I just that it first for things I can't say, I was able to have some of my own revenge stories against people who have assaulted me after
Hmm.
watching the film. And um, yeah, I think it like emboldened me to just be like, um, yeah, just kind of like kind of talk back. And it also really, I mean, I used to run a rape crisis center as a social worker, so
Oh, wow.
it's not like I haven't like worked around sexual assault or whatever, but there was something yeah, I was new to seeing something that where it was like I came away from it despite the ending that there was still like power taken back.
Hmm.
Um, and I don't think I've ever thought of it in those terms. And also I didn't really think about it started making me like have really interesting conversations with my guy friends at the time to be like, oh, when have you like personally, I'm like, I want to know, like, have you ever seen something where you were uncomfortable with like, have you ever been like privy to something that was probably like shady at a party or whatever? And it led to like the dissolution of like some friendships. But
Oof.
in a way I was like, this is good. Like we're calling the herd, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And, not for nothing, we both work in comedy. That's a pretty wide herd to try and narrow down.
Yeah.
But
And you see
that,
all the and you see it all the time in comedy with like some
hmm,
people will be going through the grapevine about like a guy who did something unsavory, and then
hmm,
you see it's so telling the responses people have, especially if there's a position of power or someone thinks they can get something from whoever that figure is.
yeah,
Yeah,
for sure. I mean, I'll say this about number one, I saw the movie. I've only seen it once. I liked the movie. A lot of people feel various ways about it. It's fine. Like the movie, don't. But what I will say is, I'm glad that's the experience you had because I think that's the point of the movie. So
yeah.
great. I'm really happy to hear that. Um, a new question, which is, what book should never be turned into a film?
I don't know. Has Chappelle written a memoir? Um,
I can't imagine him doing that, but that would be very funny. God, I can't even begin to wade into that, but yeah,
yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
desperately frustrating.
I know. Yeah, that's
Mhm.
maybe any of the Chicken Soup for the Soul books. Is that a lighter topic?
I think I might have bad news for you, Caitlin, and it's
They
that
have
they, yes, I believe they have like
uh,
Lifetime movies based off of the franchise. But those are two very good answers. Is Dave Chappelle's memoir, which is yet to come out, and Chicken Soup for the Soul. That's great. Um,
I just remember for Chicken
mhm.
Soup for the Soul, it was like basic bitch culture when I before basic bitch was a term. I remember it being like being passed around, particularly between girls, just being like, "Oh my God, you have to read this, especially before you go off to college. It'll like change your worldview." And then I remember reading it and just thinking, like, this is so ham-fisted and bad.
Truly just been like a hater from the beginning. Oh no. That's very funny. Yeah, I don't remember much of those at all because I don't think I was the target demo, as specifically the ones you just laid out. Um, do you remember what your first character crush in a movie was?
Jessica Rabbit.
Hell yeah, dog. It's It's
It's also
great.
weird because it was the movie my mom would put on for me as a child when I was sick with a fever, which is a terrible movie to watch with a fever.
Yeah,
So
dude.
I have so many memories of like sipping ginger ale and watching that movie and being like, I'm sort of horny and also my mind is completely warped. Um, but also like I from like a very young age like had a boob fetish. Like I remember I found like drawings I did of like people when I was a kid, and every time I would draw a woman, even as stick figures, I would give them like voluptuous body. I was so young, Tristan, to be doing this that like it's so silly that I was like something really like cracked in my brain with Jessica Rabbit, and where I was like, yes, big boobs.
And you're not wrong for it. You know? Um, I'll say this. I feel like that is such a precarious mental state to watch Who Framed Roger Rabbit in. It's like I can't imagine, like I can't imagine because it often happens, but like being feverish and horny and a kid, ugh, that's so complicated. I don't
Yeah.
wow. But that's a very good answer. All right. Let me know if this crosses a line, but which actor?
Do you ask that these questions of everyone?
I have a list of questions and I pick random ones.
So has anyone else answered Jessica Rabbit before?
Not yet.
Okay.
So good for you. An
I
original.
would think that would be a popular pick.
You'd think. I mean, I think most people. I mean, I was talking to Orly Matlow for this, and she was like Moses from Prince of Egypt. So it really just depends on like, I think your like point, your reference point, but it also depends on whether or not you mean like because like I remember watching Kiki's Delivery Service as a kid, and I wasn't like I want to fuck Kiki from Kiki's Delivery Service, but I was like I want to be around her. I wish she was real. I
Yeah.
want to hang out with her. I want to hold her
Yes.
hand. But so it's so a lot of people go with that, or it just depends on what your perspective is. But no one's picked Jessica Rabbit, and no one's been feverish and horny for her, and that's great. You know,
And
an
chugging
icon, an
gin.
original. um, I think I got one more, and this one I do ask of everybody, and that's why is Austin Powers just so sexy? What about him?
Tristan, why would you do this? What DSM code is this, Tristan?
That's fair. You could, I mean, would you prefer me ask why is Dr. Evil so sexy? Would you prefer me to ask why is Scott so sexy? Again, Seth Green making an appearance in this conversation.
As a person who identifies demisexual, and something I will say that I appreciate about Michael Myers
Mhm.
is like I've always heard those like this is silly, but I've always heard those things that like he's such a gentleman. Like even when he had like these like very sexy scenes, I guess like he was
Mhm.
just so like blushing and like shy about it and like totally trying to be super respectful about it in a way that and also I remember people talk and I'm not a person who really follows like celebrity news, but I remember like hearing it can't I remember hearing several times that like he was a celebrity who just like married a normal looking person. And everyone was like, isn't he great? Isn't he lovely? He didn't even get a hottie. He just got a average person. And I've
Very
never even taken the time to look up whoever his wife is. I just remember thinking like, salt of the earth. Way to go,
wow.
Michael Myers.
Mike Myers White. I'm gonna look her up. Is married to Kelly Tisdale. Um, he's had two wives. Hmm. Interesting.
Ooh, the plot thickens, Michael Myers.
I also love you calling him Michael Myers. Very funny, very good. Um, but he's had pretty good runs, to be honest. From 1993 to 2006, Robin Rusin is his first wife, and then Kelly Tisdale he's been married to since 2010. So,
Okay.
sometimes things just don't work out. But I love that answer. That I'm gleaning from it is like the appeal of Austin Powers' sensuality is the kindness you sense from Mike Myers as an actor behind it, and the sensitivity he
Yeah.
has.
A different actor would have come off very differently.
I agree. I 100% agree. That's great. Are you ready for the game? The main game. Let's get a random word from randomwordgenerator.com. Okay, urge is the word we have.
God.
Yeah, I know. I have a couple places my mind goes immediately, but I want to hear you out first because I don't want to steamroll the guest.
Doing word association?
Well, we're doing what comes to your mind when you think of urge that you think of for a plot of a film. Like we're just trying to throw out ideas to get it out there.
A urinary tract infection?
Okay. The need to pee.
It's like the movie Speed, but it's like your bladder. I don't know.
The movie. So in this scenario, now I'm willing to absolutely hear you out here, but I just need to clarify a couple of things. And that's when you say it's like speed, is it like this person can't stop peeing, or they have to hold it in?
They have to hold it in.
Okay, they have to hold it in. Okay. What happens if they don't? We're establishing the stakes here. I'm all in. On SP'd.
I hate that you did that.
Listen.
There's like a father figure in you right now that is coming out that needs to say peed.
Okay. Is it the shirt? Maybe that's why.
That's just dad humor.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to get a grill out, start making some brats.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean maybe like he's in a job interview and like that's like he can't be, but he has this urge.
I like it. I think what would make sense as well is that he's in a job interview to work at like an Amazon-esque company. And they're like, well, how long can you work without peeing? That's part of the interview.
Yes, I like that.
And they're making him hold it. But obviously he needs the job, I would assume, because he's going to lose his house or something like drastic like that. I like that a lot. I feel like it should be kind of an aw shucks kind of character, so he doesn't want to bring up the fact that he has to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
So he's like interacting with all of these people, just like sweating bullets.
Totally. Have you had a UTI, Tristan?
Not yet.
And I have. It is like let's say you've been holding it for way too long. It's so intensified from even that feeling. And then it really hurts when you actually do pee. So there's no winning in the game of a UTI. It's like there's no relief from actually doing it. It's like, oh, then I get to just pee knives once I actually do it. So let's say he does start to trickle, then like it's also going to be like, I want to cry, it hurts so much.
God.
It's insanely painful for how common and like silly of a thing it is.
Sure. Oh God, that just sounds awful.
And then this just ends up being like a PBS short for like, this is why you need cranberry supplements in your life.
Yeah, absolutely. I was gonna say, wouldn't it? I feel like if this character didn't know that they had a UTI and then they start to pee and it's too painful, they're like, I'm not doing this. And then they're just like keep like That's
Yeah.
the game of the movie. Is them going like just letting out a little, just enough that they don't like burst their bladder, but not enough. Oh, that's just terrible. Um, could it be that it's not just him? That everyone who's interviewing for this company also has a UTI, and the person that's interviewing is like an evil person that gets some sort of jolly off of hearing people, as you say, pee knives.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to all of a sudden I started to get logical about this. I'm like, why am I being logical about this? This is all nonsense, poopy pants. Um,
For the record, I want the record to show that my instinct with urge was about the founding of the potato chip company. So in an alternate universe,
wow. Wait, so how did you go to that from Urge?
well,
What?
urge is a brand of potato chips, ain't it?
I don't think I know this.
Yeah. It's got a little gal on the as the mascot.
Are you Oops?
I think I might be thinking of Oots. I'm gonna put in potato chips though.
But how is that Urge?
Let me look here. Yeah, urge chips. Nope, I don't know. I have no idea. Oh, I see. So I'm from Minnesota, and they're a brand from this gas station that is all around the Midwest called Quick Trip.
Oh,
Yeah, so that's why I know them.
got it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking this up right now. Oh, okay, I'm seeing it now.
Mm-hmm. So that's where my mind went. But back to the peeing knives. Um, what could have been? I like it. I think it's very funny. I think honestly it should be Mike Myers since we're talking about how like golly he is.
And then if we wanted to do Austin Powers as humor,
Mm-hmm.
his body starts changing shapes as the bladder expands.
Something I had never considered, but is quite good.
The pee is just like coming up in like other parts of his body.
And he has to like push it down and it comes up others' places. Oh, that's so silly. Oh, that's so funny.
And then he like gets the job, but he's like he can't fit into any of the uniforms because he's full of piss.
Violet Beauregard full of piss.
Someone tries to give him like a hug, and he's like, "Don't touch me."
Can't do it. Oh, that's so silly. Absurd. What's the solution? How do we relieve this guy? It's reminding me of, have you seen Strange Brew, the Bob and Doug McKenzie movie?
Oh,
Okay, there's this gag where he drinks like all of this, like this massive thing of beer, and then it's just like him taking up the whole warehouse. And he's this massive balloon man, and he just shouts, "I gotta take a leak." It's reminding me of that. But what's the solution to his piss problem, I wonder? I've never said piss so much in my life. Listen, this is by far the goofiest one I've done in a minute. This is a delight, Caitlin. I gotta tell you.
um, I used to do improv, and it's like both a blessing and a curse that I love just doing the lowest common denominator things for my lizard brain. It's like
Mhm.
it doesn't matter how interesting my scene mates would set up a scene, I'd come in and be like, "But what if you had a boner? Like, what if you full of piss?" And as someone who in stand up is like, I like
Yeah.
to think of myself as like a good writer and I talk about interesting things. My improv brain is like an eighth grade boy. So if you tap into my lizard brain, it is sad. It is sad. Where I'm just like, what if his body's just like full of piss, like physically?
I feel like, oh, this is grotesque. The thing I'm about to suggest is, does he start to get backed up, where it starts like he almost drowns because it's coming out of his mouth? Are we gonna go for really bad, gross out humor? Yeah, it's awful.
But what if he just learns how to live full of piss and then he finds someone to love him?
I was thinking that. And here's the thing. What if
It
they
becomes an ongoing condition because he gets the job
Mhm.
and he just becomes this guy who's like,
Yeah, piss man. Austin Mike Myers is piss boy. Um
why am
should
I not in a writer's room is what I'm saying.
um should the love of his life be full of poo poo is the thing. And that's why they're a good match. Or is that too far?
Yeah, she has hemorrhoids and she's backed up all the time.
Oh yeah. Oh. Uh, it's just awful. I'll say this. Can't stop laughing. I think getting Catherine Hahn to play someone just full of poo poo would be very funny. Throwback to her early career as someone who's playing someone nasty all the time. Oh, that's very funny. I feel like it ends with their wedding, and then it cuts to like there's a rumbling, and they both say I do, then they kiss, and then there's a rumbling, and then it cuts to the outside of the chapel, and then there you just hear an explosion, and all the doves that were supposed to fly out go, and that's the end of the movie. And you figure out what happened.
Or what's really funny is that
Mm.
they look at that's I love that. And then also if they look at each other not being gross and they're like, yeah, I'm just not really feeling it.
I'm good actually.
You've lost your it factor.
After That's very funny, very good. Who do you think should direct this film? This art house piece of cinema. Piss Boy and Lava Girl.
It's gotta be Tim Robinson.
Oh hell yeah. That'd be great. First movie he's working on, I assume. This is the best opportunity he can get as a
Okay.
debut feature film. Look no further.
Who would you
My
have?
God. For a director, honestly, I feel like whoever does like Adam Sandler's films or just Adam Sandler, I think
Yeah.
would be good. And if not him, like Wes Anderson. So there's this dichotomy of the stupidity of it, but all this flashy style.
Oh my God. It would be amazing to task him with being like, make this fucking sweet and book like.
Yeah.
Give this a beautiful soundtrack.
Give everyone like a little mustache for no reason.
Yes.
But but I cannot stress this enough, Wes is still full of piss, is the thing. Ugh.
I would love to be present for someone trying to direct like someone really selling having to piss more.
I'll say this. There's a scene in the film, Million Ways to Die in the West, where Neil Patrick Harris has diarrhea. And it is some of the most realistic I am sick and I cannot control my body acting I have ever seen in my life. It is
Yeah.
harrowing stuff. So
Yeah.
I feel like maybe on that note, if we get Seth MacFarlane to direct this thing, and he's proven he can do a weird bodily function bit before, we can do it again. Oh my
Do you
gosh.
recommend that movie? That sounds
Hmm?
interesting. Do you
Hmm?
recommend that movie?
Yeah, I mean it's an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's
Yeah.
very funny. I think at least I've only seen it, I think, the one time in theaters of all places. Went to cash in hand to the cinema. But Liam Neeson plays the villain. He's a villainous cowboy. He's very funny, very weird. Ewan McGregor has a cameo. It's weird. But yeah, I would recommend it. I mean, certainly it's not the most intelligent of feature films.
Well, then I'm out.
Yeah, clearly. But it's, yeah, I found it very fun. Oh boy. Um, is there anything more about Urge that you want to get off your chest, or would you like to move on to a lightning round?
We can do lightning round.
All right, the way lightning round works is we both get the same word, and then we each do one small pitch based off of the word.
Okay.
So, par exemple, I will hit random word generator, and I will get a word, which is breast. Great. Um,
This episode. It is so horny.
yeah, I don't know why. Oh my God. For me,
Tristan,
breast is
you
a,
don't even have a word generator. You just have horny words.
you caught me. I am. I'm just, this is the way to get my sexual proclivities out, talking about piss
Like
and
it's
poop
so
and
weird.
boobs.
Every time I have a female comedian on, I just have horny words.
That's so weird. I can't. Oh, it's the computer, I swear. To
Oh my
me,
God.
breast is about chicken farmers trying to get the chicken so big to make it, more cost effective, but they go too far and they create like a golem of chickens that start terrorizing the farm and eating people.
Ooh, I like that. Would
Mm.
watch. And I do pitch off it too.
Yes, you do.
Um, that's a very that's a good like there's like could be like a vegan message to that film that you just pitched.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure. Yeah, don't mess with nature.
take it too far.
Yeah.
Um,
Jeff Goldblum plays the chicken.
oh my goodness. I
Bagak. Ooh, bagak cock. Wow.
this is based on a real life thing.
Okay.
A therapist who goes through breast cancer um, loses just one breast and chooses not to um, do reconstruction, so she just lives with one breast. And I don't know how to make this interesting.
That's already pretty
The
interesting.
first thing that came to mind is that like uh, sometimes she would wear like in her bra like the silicone like fake
Mhm.
little drop-in thing, and sometimes she just didn't. And it was always kind of interesting just like to see the way that she would show up.
Mhm.
Um, so I'm trying to think of like what is like an interesting story about this.
I feel, if I
Maybe
may,
also,
right?
go ahead. No, please.
Um, the patient starts getting paranoid that when she doesn't have it, it means that they're not doing well. And when she does have it, they're like doing well mentally. Like they're trying to win therapy and trying to figure out subconsciously.
Um, yeah, I like that. Yeah, something like that.
Right. Would you like another word or would you like to
Sure.
ruminate more?
No, no, no.
Okay. So we have abstract is the word. For me, this is about a man who is trying to do bodybuilding. And as he's doing, and that's his whole career. And as he's prepping for a competition, he's working on his abs, his appendix bursts And so he's out of commission and he tries to and he can't do bodybuilding anymore because something goes wrong with the surgery, and he has to recover from that and then also figure out what he wants to do with the rest of his life. And it's abstract.
I was thinking a movie about an art teacher who had bigger dreams than being an art teacher. So she does things with the kids that are like way beyond the level of like what they need to do, and they end up like going into these competitions and winning, and I don't know, just becoming these like genius level art students. And then she ends up like realizing that like this is what she was meant to do all along, even though she felt frustrated by it at first.
No, that's really lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very sweet. From piss to that, that's great. You know, you contain multitudes. It's incredible. Truly, like the range, incredible. We love to see it. I don't like that word. It's not like a word we shouldn't say or anything. It's just I don't like it as a prompt. Debate. For me, debate is unfortunately a sequel to Joseph Gordon-Levitt's hit film Don John, if you recall that, which is about a man who is addicted to pornography. And so that character, I do not remember how that movie ends, but that character is now a counselor trying to get other people off spanking it too much. And so he's trying to debate them.
Okay.
You see. Mm-hmm.
I like the theme that's emerging here.
Knock it off.
I was thinking about a rom-com of two divorce mediators falling in love with each other.
Oh, that's so good.
Not being willing to get married because this is what they do for work.
Mm-hmm.
Mediate.
Oh, that's so good. I like that a lot. Oh. Pardon me. Well, generally I do 3 for lightning rounds. What do you want people who listen to this podcast to know about you?
I have an album out called Erotic Associate. You can listen to it for free on Spotify. It's on all the streaming platforms. So if you want to hear an hour of my stand-up, it's not even stand-up that I do anymore. I have a new hour that I've been figuring out. But yeah, please give that a listen and follow me on Instagram. I used to say Twitter. I refuse to do Threads. So I guess just Instagram for now.
Fair enough. As someone who is a Threads user, not regularly, it's a mess. You're not missing much.
I've only heard bad things, but the interface for me almost immediately, I was like, nope.
Boo. Do not enjoy. And you, dear listener, can support this podcast by going to tristanmiller.substack.com for early access to the episodes, and then also the video of the episodes, as well as a bonus podcast where I talk to people about their comfort movies called Movies to Fall Asleep To. So you can check that out all at tristanmiller.substack.com. Well, Caitlin, this has been really, really fun. I had literal tears in my eyes. So, you know, big sleepover energy from this one. And I appreciate you coming on, and thank you so much for doing it.
Thanks for having me.